2, and we're on. Hey, Vannessa, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
Fantastic. I know we got off to a little rough start with some technical difficulties, but I think this is all going to work out. I want to welcome everybody to another episode of This Week in the Grotto, and we have a very special guest. And correct me if I'm wrong, Vannessa, but you were the first person that joined the Grotto team, and you've been with us the longest at You Evolve Buffalo.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
So before we get into talking a little bit about your backstory, I definitely would like to talk some powerlifting today. And I really want your opinion on, I got a bunch of questions for you on powerlifting, but I'm really more interested in hearing your thoughts on the powerlifting sport and the fitness industry in general, and the direction that you think all of this is moving. But we have to give one of these You Evolve Buffalo keychains away like we do every week. Anybody that leaves us a review on our Facebook page, we pick one, we read their review, and they win a keychain. And this week's winner is Jordana Bryan. She writes, I have been with UEB for over 2 years now. It's actually been longer. This review is a few months old. She said, I've been with UEB for over 2 years now, and the patience, guidance, and encouragement from all the trainers is what keeps me coming back. Well, thank you. We're glad you're coming back, Jordana. I am going to see you tomorrow morning, I'm sure, and I will make sure you get that keychain. So with she and her husband Dan comes and trains there as well. He does a lot of the obstacle course training with Jill. He's done I don't know, countless competitions. He competes pretty regularly. I know Dan even does those in the winter, in the snow. He does those crazy Spartan races and all that. It's a little cold for me, and I know it's cold for you.
Oh, yeah.
So, you've been with us. Well, it'll be 3 years in May that we've been You Evolve Buffalo. And I don't remember exactly when you got on board with us, but I want to say it was probably close to winter of 2017, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I want to say November.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So we weren't open too long. Like I said, we opened in May, so June, July, August, September, maybe not even, maybe 6 months under our belt. And then you joined the team as not only a personal trainer that you run your own business out of You Evolve Buffalo, but you also have run classes there, and you're currently running one called Strength Camp. Can you let the listeners know a little bit about what type of class Strength Camp is? What type of training is it? How would you describe the class?
So I would describe a strength camp as, the best way I can put it is like a very strong accessory class. There are a few classes where I like to make it a little bit competitive. So I'll include the compound movement, squats, deadlift, bench, and make it like a little bit of a competition between the people that come.
Nice.
But mostly I like to focus on strengthening the accessories. So shoulders, back, biceps, triceps, glutes, hams, quads, a lot of strength focused work on that stuff.
Nice.
Because I know HMC is a lot of that too, but I think HMC is bench, squat, deadlift.
Yeah.
So I think that strength camp gives the participants a little bit more of that separate work.
Yeah.
Complement all the main lifts.
Absolutely. People love it. I think a lot of times people take a group class, a class setting, and they don't get to really push the heavy weights. A lot of times classes are, 5, 8-pound dumbbells, or, where it's not too often where they're laying on the bench, grabbing the barbells, or actually squatting and moving, heavy weight in a class setting, which has to, I would imagine, have its own challenges for you as an instructor, considering you never really know who's going to walk into class. I'm sure you have a regular group of people that come, but you probably have to make a lot of different accommodations to the different fitness levels and people's different athletic ability, injuries, stuff like that. That's got to be quite a challenge.
Usually I find that, so I do accommodate the individuals who, have suffered injuries, or if they have, something bothering them. But for the most part, I think that, um, and I wouldn't call it so much of I guess, a challenge, because it's more exciting when people come to class and say, well, I don't think I can do this, just because they think that they can't, because they've never done it before. So what I do get a lot of in strength camp is people experiencing the new with the compound lifts, getting a feel for, like the dumbbell floor press, something that they've never done before, and then leaving class and saying, oh, I didn't know I can do that.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So it's a lot more of that than, thankfully, having to deal with, like, oh, my shoulder hurts or my knee's bothering me, even though I do get that stuff.
Yeah. You know what? I've always given a lot of credit to CrossFit and the CrossFit community, because they were one of the first, going back even 10, 15 years, that they got the average person to join a gym and put barbells in their hands and do the Olympic lifts and to deadlift and to squat, where at that particular time in the commercial gyms, they were taking the power racks out of the gyms. There were no bumper plates in the gyms back then. They were loading it up with cardio equipment and the abductor, adductor machine circuits. There were things like curves were like really popular back then. And they came in, and it's like, hey, if you want to join a gym, this gym, we lift weights. And, they I think, opened up that to a lot of people. And a place like U Evolve Buffalo and some of the smaller studios really benefited from catching a lot of that overflow, making it very popular to do that kind of stuff, the tire flipping, and that's all CrossFit, the prowler pushing. They really spearheaded a lot of that. And now it's very normal for people to come to a place like ours and train like that.
I agree.
That wasn't always popular. What has become, I think, extremely popular, especially in the last, I'm going to say 5 to 10 years, is powerlifting. And I know you are quite the powerlifter. Maybe not everybody knows that you've competed a lot, you still compete. What was your entry into the sport of powerlifting? How did you get started with that?
Well, I got started, I want to say a little after I started strength training overall. And this was like almost 5 years ago now. So initially I went into this one gym, went up sports performance, and the whole strength training was just new to me. It was just something new. I was bored. I was running, 5 miles every other day. That got boring. So the whole strength training was new for me. So I stuck with that, and I never looked back. I was kind of like my old mentor's guinea pig.
What? Guinea pig. I thought you said skinny pig. I'm like, what's that?
I was like his little guinea pig. So he was, at the time, really into West Side.
Yes.
So the conjugate method and all of his ideas, and having me trying things, every week. And then it became a little bit more solidified with like programming week to week to week, month to month. And then it was just bizarre. One day it was just like, oh, wow, like, you're pretty strong, and I started looking into competition. It just kind of fell on my lap, really. I think it was just destiny.
So backing up just a little bit, before going in working over at One Up, you said you were doing a lot of running. Were you doing any kind of resistance training, or was it just cardio? Did you have a gym membership somewhere else? And was there any kind of base that you came in there with, or was that like raw you started with over there?
There was a little bit of a base. I was a member at the Y. And then I remember just going in and just kind of doing a little bit of everything. So I met with the fitness director, manager at the Y, and he put me on like a little plan.
Yeah.
And I was basically doing sets and reps on every single machine at this little Y.
Yeah.
And then doing cardio after that. So that was like the baseline, the very, very baseline.
Yeah.
And I would like to call it like very general.
Yeah.
And so then when I started at One Up, I just had that, but it was just very basic. I was doing a lot of running before then.
So I think, what can really be taken away from that is, well, that's how a lot of people start. They walk into a big commercial gym or a YMCA. They don't know where to start. Somebody starts them on a basic circuit. And then if you have a taste for it, there's places to go where you can progress. And you happen to walk into a place that offered the knowledge for powerlifting, especially throwing you right into a West Side barbell conjugate. What a great place to pick it up at.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people don't know West Side barbell or what any type of conjugate training entails. How would you describe the conjugate system to somebody that doesn't know anything about powerlifting?
Well, I would say this was a little bit difficult for me because I leaned on my old mentor to just guide me through everything. So I looked at him and said, okay, you do everything, you take care of everything. The way that I see the conjugate method, and I've steered away from that because I did it for so long.
Sure.
That I got so bored that once I'm bored with something, I'm just like, okay, I move on, it's in the past, on to the next thing. And the way that I would describe it is just a method of training that utilizes bands, chains, a lot of unconventional, I guess I wouldn't call it machines, but I guess that's what you would say, like the reverse hyper.
Yeah.
It's different in the sense that I think that they focus a little bit more on the accessory work than what I really dive into now. And I don't want to say that it has like that, what's the word? History of working more with like equipped lifters.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way I would describe it.
So, but would I be right in saying that you would every week you would do a max lift on a different so for instance, you wouldn't always be doing a regular competition squat with the barbell. It would vary from week to week where you might something would always be changing. So you might use a safety squat bar, a cambered bar the next week, bands one week, a chain next week, box squat the next week. We're always rotating through a different exercise that's just slightly different than the main lift.
Correct. That is correct. The different variations are cycled through like every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, depending on the programming.
So, I would imagine it gave you a lot of exposure to a lot of different variation and variety of lifts. And would you say that overall it worked for you? You made pretty good gains on it until you didn't?
Yes. I would say that it worked for a while. And yeah, until it didn't. And I think what steered me away from it was just it gets to be very tiresome.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of reverse of what I should think. So you go in the gym, you want to work hard, you want to make sure you're doing the work, but it became more work to prepare for my lift, like setting the bands up at the right, level for squat or bench, setting up the chains, the poundage and change, not that I mind math, but it just became a lot more work to actually prepare before my lift. So I wasn't actually enjoying the lifts as much as I was because it just became so much work.
So where did you take your training after that, as far as your programming? To where are you now with your training?
After that, I did a little bit of research, and I actually trained. I want to say maybe for like a couple of months with Carly out of Mustache.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was my first dive into just like regular block programming. Um, Shorter weeks. So my cycles before were like 6, 7, 8 weeks. Now these were 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks. More direct, very direct work with just straight squatting, straight benching, just deadlifting. Of course, you always have the accessory work, but it was more work on actually practicing the technique with the actual compound lift than it was about the variety of different exercises to strengthen your compound lifts, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Would you agree that I tell people oftentimes that most of the time people miss a lift because of something technical, not that they don't have the strength. Something went wrong with the actual lift. They moved out of position, or the weight moved them out of position. So that would make a good, I think maybe the conjugate system, because you're not always training the main lift, would probably work better for somebody with more experience and competitive experience, where they don't have to be focusing on that main lift because they've already mastered it, so they can move off of that with the alternate lifts. But for a beginner, it might be tough, because if you're only coming back around to that main lift every 6 weeks and you really haven't mastered it yet, the technical aspect of the move, things can go wrong, and it's not just a matter of strength. It's a matter of you're just not good enough at it yet. That was always my opinion.
No, I agree, and I think that for beginners anyway, it can be a little bit more difficult to see like what sort of programming is best for you, because I know in the beginning you get the beginner gains. So whether it's the conjugate system or the more conventional straight just squatting or whatever, you'll get gains either way.
Yeah.
But then, so I think for beginners it might be a little bit tougher to gauge as far as like maybe starting off with the conjugate system of training, because you'll get gains either way.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
So how soon were you into it before you started competing?
I want to say maybe a year and a half. I was preparing for about a year and a half before I actually competed in my first competition.
And about how many times, if you must have a handful of competitions under your belt by now?
I believe I do. I want to say 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I want to say 4
Maybe
that I'm remembering right now.
like once a year type about?
Yes, but I'm giving myself a break now, so it'll be a while before I compete again.
Any special reason? Just life gets in the way, and or do you have certain goals in mind that you want to hit, that you're giving yourself time to train for?
Well, right now so it's been maybe 6 months or so since I dropped a significant amount of weight, but I dropped that weight in a pretty decent amount of time. And I was able to maintain the same level of strength that I did, being 25 pounds heavier, now 25 pounds lighter.
Wow.
So was huge.
Yeah.
So now what I'm aiming to do is to see, so this is like my new baseline now. Seeing where I can go at the new baseline in now increasing. So going from maintaining with the weight loss to increasing strength at my current weight.
Gotcha. So obviously you'd be in a different weight, competing in a different weight class.
I want to say 2 weight classes lower.
Wow.
I was competing at the 72, so I want to, and I think that ranges from 150 something to 165. I can't remember exactly. And then the class before that is 138, and then before that I think it's 125, and I'm at 125 now, 57 kilo. So just to see now it's like rebuilding again. Okay, so like now this is my body's new baseline. Let's see where I can take it.
That's impressive. That's really impressive. Especially if you can keep your strength 2 weight classes below. My God, who wouldn't sign up for that?
Yeah, I was shocked myself.
Yeah, that's really impressive. So I've noticed I can honestly say I'm going to go back maybe 6 years ago. I might be off by a year or so. I remember rolling into a local competition, and essentially the group that I was with was all women. We might have had maybe 8 of us coming to compete, and I think we were the only women. We, not me. The group, the group, that I was training were the only women at the meet. Maybe there was definitely one other girl there, but I'm telling you, not more than 4 others in the entire meet. And ever since then, every 6 months, these meets come around. Now some of them are 50% women, 50-50. They've really taken to the sport. Not only taken to it, but they seem to enjoy this. The men take it almost too damn seriously, and the women have so much fun at the meet. They encourage each other, and the excitement when they cheer for each other on the platform. And I think that they have really given the sport a second life. And without the women's participation in the sport, I really don't think it would be the same. Definitely not in terms of numbers, not in terms of energy. And again, going back to CrossFit, I think if they reopened that sport up again, as they did, I think, with the Olympic lifting and strongman competitions as well. It's amazing. Do you see any trends in the sport? Like if you thought you had a crystal ball, I never would have had the foresight to see, other than we just, we thought it would be a fun thing to do. And everybody that went to that meet with me that 6 years ago or so, or 7 or whatever it was their first meet. It was new to everybody, but I never would have had the foresight that the sport was trending in that direction. Do you see it moving? Like, where do you see the sport in the next 4 or 5 years?
I see it obviously continuing to grow. I think the demographic is maybe going to, well, I guess I don't see it changing too much, but I think for some reason I see a lot more mothers in the sport. So more of like your, I don't want to stereotype, but like businessy women, looking at the women that are already in the sport and saying, oh, they look, normal. They don't look big and bulky. She looks, she looks like she's in good shape. She's small. She's petite. I look the same way. So maybe I can do this. I have a family, or, I have other obligations, but I think there's really an example that's been set by the women that are in the sport now, to kind of giving the okay, not that anyone needs the okay, but giving that okay, say, hey, look, I can do this, so can you. It's kind of almost normalizing it, to where before I think there was that stigma where it's like, oh, well, if you lift, you're big, or I don't want to be bulky. I don't want to,
Yeah.
look like this or look like that. I think more, uh, I hate to say it, but like more normal people,
Yeah.
I think are going to get into it, if that makes sense at all.
Well,
I think that it has like this, there's this picture of what a power lifter should look like or does look like. And then when you see the women in the gym who are actually doing it, it's far from what you think it is.
I think with the expansion of a lot of the different federations, and you're getting, you'll have your natural federations that do drug testing. So you're going to get a more normal, average looking person participating. I think that'll, oh, I lost you on the call, Vannessa. I'm going to call you right back and we'll continue. Oh, you there, Vannessa? Are you there?
Yep, I'm
Okay.
here.
All right. Yeah, the call got dropped. We're good to go. I was just saying, I think that the change with the expansion of so many federations, and a lot of them being natural federations, helped with the more normal average gym goer, where it's not just that meathead boys club that I think was associated with powerlifting, some years back. So I definitely agree that it's opened up the demographic. Do you see? I see. And I'm just wondering if you would agree. Do you see any chance of the geared lifter, as far as like one multiply lifters, coming back? Because I have a feeling that might, the pendulum always swings hard one way, then it comes back the other way. And raw lifting with no equipment has really been, that's the majority of the lifters now, where if you went back 10 years ago or so, there were more equipped lifters. I have a feeling that that's going to start changing, and we might start seeing more of the multiply lifters coming back to the sport for whatever reason. I don't know if it's maybe just because everything usually needs to get bigger, the numbers need to get bigger, everything bigger sells, and the only way to do that is once we max out the human body is to add the gear back on and maybe start breaking some of those totals, and and people hear those numbers and they realize, well, I'm not even close to those numbers. Okay, I need to gear up to get those numbers. I just have a feeling that that's going to start trending back.
Yeah, it's definitely died down a little bit, and I can see it picking back up. I just don't know how soon.
Yeah, I think it'll take some years, but I don't think it's going to be anytime. It's not going to be tomorrow. We're not going to come in 6.
It'll be anytime soon. Maybe in the next few years.
Yeah.
But I definitely do see it coming back. Just not, maybe later rather than sooner.
I would tend to agree with that. Let me ask you this, almost like a rapid fire question. We'll take one major of the 3 lifts: squat, bench, deadlift, and tell me your favorite accessory move to build that lift and why. Now, I know there's no one right answer, because somebody might need, if it's a bench press, they might need more back work, they might need more triceps, or so you would choose a different lift. But off the top of your head, we'll start with the bench press. If somebody needed to raise their bench press, what accessory exercise, what would be your go-to to try to build that up? And you can expand as much as you need.
I would say, based on my own experience right now, I would say dumbbell incline press. For some odd reason, and it might just be me, and I programmed this into most of my clients' programs, and it's always beneficial. I haven't seen it be a detriment yet.
Sure.
Is the incline dumbbell press or incline bench press. I can stay. There was a couple of months where I stayed away from just benching and just solely did incline, just dumbbell incline. And I came back stronger. I just love how it feels, just everything, just everything about it. I
Probably a
don't
lot
think
of
there's anything negative.
shoulder stability. Do you have a preference on the height, the type of angle used? Low angle, mid, high angle on the
I
incline?
like a mid angle. Anything,
45 degrees,
mhm,
right in the middle.
it just seems just about right. Anything high is just too high.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way I can describe it. It just feels kind of almost like closer to a shoulder press.
Yeah.
Anything too low, it doesn't feel like it's hitting quite right in the chest. So, but
Cool.
that's my favorite.
What about the squat? How would you bring up the squat?
Oh, for squatting? If you ask any one of my clients, they'd probably tell you what I'm about to tell you, and that's the Bulgarian split squat. Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. But not only do you get to get that continued focus on stability, unilateral work, but you're also working all the lower muscles, more quads, but hams and glutes. So you're getting everything, while continuing to focus on strengthening the quads too. So that's probably my all-time favorite is the split squat.
Do you have a preference, like a barbell, holding dumbbells?
Oh, dumbbell.
Dumbbells.
Definitely dumbbell.
Why? Just any particular reason why, or convenience?
Well, I
or?
think the barbell, as far as like split squat with the barbell, it's a little bit more of an advanced move.
Yeah.
So I think you need a little bit more time in fitness and powerlifting, just lifting in general, to get there. Dumbbell work is a little bit easier. You also get that grip work with, even if you use a kettlebell,
Yeah,
or a dumbbell, you get grip work in there too, and then continued focus on stability.
absolutely. Last one, deadlift.
Deadlift. I'd say my favorite is barbell RDL. Because I put a little bit of a spin on it, and I guess it's not anything new, but barbell RDLs with a pause at the bottom. I think you get a lot more activation in the hamstrings, and just going heavier on the barbell RDL has helped, from what I see, has helped my clients and myself with the deadlift. And you get that back work too, that continued back work.
So anybody that doesn't know, the RDL is the Romanian deadlift. You said with a barbell. Do you usually prefer with a real straight back, a rounded back, the bar a little closer to the body, bar away from the body? Do you have any preferences on those?
I prefer a straight back, and then I like having the barbell close, so it doesn't steer away from you. It's nice and tight. You have full control of it. It's not controlling you. You're controlling the bar.
Sure, especially for lesser experienced people, it protects that low back, I think, a lot better too. I would do it the exact same way, unless somebody was really advanced and I can trust them to push that weight out to challenge that low back. But most people, I would do it for myself, but I wouldn't probably ask too many other people to do it. That didn't help. So let's switch gears off of powerlifting, and let's talk about the general fitness, the field of fitness, personal training, the business of fitness. Obviously, social media plays a huge role in all of it. I think it's, and I don't think it can be understated, as far as how important it is for communicating with clients, building a business, building a brand around it. How how do you use your social media? Are you on? I know you're obviously on Facebook. You're on Instagram, correct? Yes.
Yep.
Do you use Twitter? Do you use any other platforms?
I've just stuck with Facebook and Instagram. Um, but that's only because it's not something that I do full time yet. Hopefully, down the road, it is something that I can do full time. Um, but I haven't really focused too much on social media. But that's my personal preference. I know that social media is extremely important for expanding your business and getting the word out there, and just spreading the good educational knowledge of fitness, not the bad.
So are you saying that you see bad things on social media?
All the time.
Yeah. So,
All the time.
so now that I opened up the can of worms, what are some of the things, what would be maybe some of your pet peeves, or what do you see on the social media that maybe is maybe cringeworthy, um, stuff like that, that maybe poisons the pond a little bit out there that, I mean, I know there's, where to start, right?
Um, I would say, um,
Is it the selfies? I think maybe body image. A lot of times people get a false sense of body image, what should be out there.
yes, um, I think it's a really big problem with women. Not, of course, I'm not leaving the men out, but with women, the way that I guess the younger generations are portraying themselves. So a younger woman is always going to have a little bit of an easier time than an older woman, staying fit or looking naturally fit. And I think from what I see or what I've seen most recently in the gym is a lot of the younger women, um, making it appear as though it's that easy, and it's really not. And I think it puts out a very false um, hope of what it really takes to meet your goals and meet those fitness goals. And I mean, I see it all the time. I see it, not that again, I don't judge. To each their own. There's nothing wrong with taking a picture, taking a selfie, but I think that if you take a selfie and you put the word out there, the knowledge out there that it's easy to maintain the body that you have, I think that's the incorrect information to be putting out there, when I think that good trainers and the good individuals that are in the fitness space really know that um, the reality of the work that it takes to accomplish some fitness goals.
Sure. I remember I just recently over the holiday, there's that little holiday break. I think it was probably like the week of Christmas or somewhere around there, running into you at the gym, and it was dead. It was dead in there. And I remember I think I was on my way out. You might have been on your way, and I'm like, look at this. Isn't it the truth though? The trainers, we're here working when everybody else isn't. Don't want to get up in the morning. It's the holidays. I know it's a tough time of year, but I just thought that's kind of like that little testimony of, hey, we got to, nothing comes easy. It doesn't come easy for me, certainly. And I know how hard you work. You have to put the time in to get any kind of results. Nothing's just going to be handed to you. And again, like I said, the place was dead, and it was an off time, or it had something to do with the holidays. And we were definitely one of the few people crossing our paths. And then I think within the next couple of days, I ran into the same place, Chris Overfield, who I'm sure you probably see at the gym too. And I'm like, yep, it's those same people that have been doing it very consistently, You know, it's not just after New Year's, not just before the summer's ready to start. It's a 12-month process that you got to keep yourself in the game. And it always bothered me, I think, as far as what you're alluding to is, you know, where there are trainers and there are athletes that do make it either sound very easy peasy, or I can eat this, I can eat all this junk, and it you know, there's no negative effects, and they might be able to get away with that. You know, they might legitimately be able to get away with that, but they're an anomaly. That's not the norm. Most people, certainly myself, would never be able to get away with that. Any little, I'm off on anything, and I have to pay the piper. And I think it would be more important to be genuine and honest about the type of work that it takes to get even marginal gains, as opposed to making it try to sell it as easy. I think that could be very, besides disingenuous, it could be very, people can be frustrated by it. Like, why isn't this working for me? I work so hard. And a lot of people do work hard. They're working hard and they're not getting maybe the gains quick enough, which again, I think people want too fast, too much, too fast. And I think a lot of that can be portrayed as they're scrolling, you know, and I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen this too, where you see the side-by-side pictures and people aren't telling the whole story of what it took to get that way. You know, whether they're using performance-enhancing drugs, and 6 months, I'm like, dude, I know you. I know what you did to do that.
Oh, yeah.
You told me, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, that's not cool. To me, that's not cool. You know, it's like, you know, like you said, to each your own. But don't tell people that you just ate chicken and white rice and that happened in 6 months. It did, because it didn't. There's a whole nother side of the story that you're not telling. And I think that's what bothers me the most, maybe. And I see it with women too. Women competitors, where, yeah, and I know, even if it's, what gets me is sometimes it's not even about business. They're not even in business. They're not even selling anything. They're just trying to, I don't know what they're doing. They're just, if I wasn't in business, I wouldn't even have an Instagram account. You know what I mean? I'm like, wouldn't have to, I would be, I think, I would like to think I would be off most social media. But it is a powerful tool. But I don't understand the people that, you're not a trainer. You're not trying to sell your services. Why are you showing these transformations that you know you're not genuinely doing what you're saying you're doing? And that's narcissistic then, to me. And that's just ego and narcissism. And to me, that's kind of a turnoff too.
What used to really bother me was, and now I think there's less of, for sure, just because of just how everything is a little bit more advanced. I think people are a little bit more open-minded. Is the whole like, well, I just have to do cardio. I just have to do cardio to lose, you know, all this weight. I don't want to strength train because I don't want to bulk up. I'm just gonna do cardio. I'm just gonna do cardio.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, people are, I think, are starting to realize, like, you can lift weights and you'll be okay. You're not going to look bulky. Yeah. But that was one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like, no, I'm just going to do cardio. I'm just going to do cardio. Eventually that just fails, you know? Boredom.
I mean, it's that repetitive motion, you can be prone to injury. You know, so many people that, I mean, there's any athletic endeavor, there's going to be a risk of injury. But that repetitive, especially in things like treadmills, you know, that pound, you know, it's easy to get a foot or a knee injury. As far as, I used to always joke, like I would get women saying, well, I don't want to get too bulky. I don't want my legs getting too big so I can't fit in their jeans. And I would always say, listen, don't you think I would make my legs bigger first before I made your legs bigger? If it was that easy, wouldn't I do it to myself first? Your legs are going to be fine. You're not going to get.
That's a good point.
Right?
That's a good point.
You don't see my calves and legs aren't busting out anywhere from squatting. You know, it's not that easy, and you don't have the testosterone. You're gonna be fine. Change your diet. That's what you got to worry about. You know, people want to blame the weightlifting. It's like, no, you got to change your diet.
No, there's something wrong with what you're consuming.
Yeah, let's look there first, and then we can start the blame game after that if you still think it's a problem. But yeah, I also years ago I was preparing for my first bodybuilding competition, so you have to shave all the hair off your body. So I'm in the gym, and so I'm wearing shorts, so I have no hair on my legs. I'm already started the tanning process, so they're shining, you know, that shiny new shave. And this lady who went to the gym, she's probably like in her mid 60s. She goes, "Oh, Jeff, your legs look so good. I wish mine looked like that." And I just thought, and I thought, oh my God, I have the legs of a 65-year-old woman, and I have to compete in 4 weeks. I'm dead. I'm dead. You know, I knew she meant well, right? But I'm like, that's not the look I'm going for.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So you're not just gonna fall, you know, butt backwards into a bunch of bulky muscle if anybody's worried about that.
Oh my God.
So do you see any like I mentioned earlier, talking about the trend of CrossFit being very popular? There's definitely there's absolutely a trend of boutique type fitness centers, not much different from what we do at U Evolve Buffalo, but now you're starting to see, yoga studios, bar studios. There's that Reform Fitness. There's any type of little multi-type training centers. All these small, definitely getting away. There's still a fair share of big box gyms, but you can throw a stone in any direction and you're going to land on seems like a new gym is popping up everywhere. I definitely see that as a trend. I don't see how that's going to keep being there's only so many people. I don't know how sustainable that can be. So I'm always trying to look for, okay, has to be, again, the pendulum swinging away from the big box gyms toward these more boutique type specialized spin studios, this type of training. What's going to be the next wave when that pendulum swings in the other direction? Is there anything on your radar that you're picking up on that you see maybe the fitness industry in general, the direction of it changing at all?
You mean like just in general, like where I see the fitness industry going?
Yeah.
I definitely say that the smaller, like small business gyms are going to continue to pop up. I think people just want to be more family oriented. I think that's the direction that it's going. Of course, I don't know if I'm right. I think the gym may be becoming a little bit more of, yes, I know that it's supposed to be a family atmosphere, but actually like a family atmosphere. So you walk in, just like the Grotto, you walk in and, it's another gym goer who you just went to lunch with the last week. So it's not just like, oh, there's that stranger who's working hard in the gym. It's like a little bit more personalized.
Sure.
A little bit more relatable, more family.
Where you're doing things outside of the actual exercise.
Yeah, so I think the gym is going to become a little bit more of a connection. Not that it hasn't been before, but I think
I agree, because when I used to go to a place like, say, like Crunch Fitness or one of those larger gyms, first of all, not so much anymore because everybody wears headphones. But even if you went back 10 years or longer, people didn't have the phones. And so a lot of times you were forced to talk. You know, you're waiting for a piece of equipment. It was a little more social. And then now everybody's kind of in their own zone, where in a smaller studio setting, no, you're not going to be wearing headphones. You're almost forced to interact and get to know the people that you're next to exercising with. and maybe get that sense of community that you're talking about. That might just be a pure fact of, like I said, being in smaller quarters. You know, you're right next to people exercising and being forced to either participate with each other, communicate with each other. And before you know it, your friends on Facebook, and then it's all over. You're out to lunch together.
Exactly. And I think that I've seen a lot more people just like lifting together.
Yeah.
So I've tried to at least lift once with all of my clients, and I think I have. And then I have clients, you know, lifting with each other, you know, when they're lifting at, you know, their own time. So it's become more of like, you know, let's share not only what we know, but let's compare. Let's use each other for motivation. You know, I see, you know, Jeff's client doing this. You know, why don't you join me and let's squat together?
Yeah.
I've seen that a little bit more with my clients anyway. But and I think if it hasn't happened more often, it's because of just time restriction. So, you know, so and so is working, I can't lift with you then, or this or that. But for the most part, I do find some of my clients trying to lift together or lift with me. So it's like it's just become very yeah, like family and friend oriented. Something that you motivate me, I motivate you. Let's continue to learn. Let's continue to motivate. Let's continue to push each other. Spreading more good knowledge than let's just take a selfie and post a picture of our butts.
Yeah. It's always the butt picture. It's always the the turning back. But I also I think people prefer to suffer together. And suffering might be too strong of a word, but as long as we have to, you know, sometimes, you know, you can get psyched out for a workout, especially if you know, I know, like, especially maybe like it's a heavy squat day, and if it's just, and that's what's on the schedule and my head's not right, it could be like, you know, you're thinking about it the day before, like, oh my God, I got to get this together because I know I got to get under that heavy bar tomorrow. Or it might be like, oh my God, what's Vannessa going to have in for me tomorrow? I didn't get enough sleep last night. And if there's other people there, it takes the heat off you a little bit. Somebody might be in worse shape than you are, you know, and you get to people, the people around you pick you up, you know, get you through it.
Exactly.
So I think people, you know, and that's super helpful. And I've worked with other trainers as far as having myself being trained by other trainers. And I've always felt like the good ones, and I've really worked with a lot of good ones, have a way of putting you at ease as soon as you come through that door that, yeah, we have some hard work to do, but never ask you to do anything I know you can't do. And they draw the best out of you. And you're always happy you came. And when you leave, you felt better than when you came. And the biggest challenge sometimes is just getting there and getting through those front doors.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. Well, anything you think we didn't, that you wanted to mention that we didn't get to? How would people get a hold of you, Vannessa, if they wanted to find out more about some of your services, your personal training, the type of powerlifting, anything that, you know, things you have to offer? What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
I say the best way is through my business page on Facebook, and that's simply under my first and last name. That's Vannessa with 2 N's and 2 S's, and then Sanchez.
Yeah.
And it'll come.
You know,
that's super easy peasy.
Yeah, I'll make sure when we post this, I'll tag you in it, and this way you can, if you want to, you know, we'll try to draw some people there as well. So you don't have, do you have a business page on Facebook?
That's the only one that I have. Is just under my own name.
Oh, okay. So you have your regular profile, your regular Facebook page, and then you have a separate one as well under Vannessa Sanchez? Right. Okay. All right. Fantastic. And we'll make sure to try to send it over there. So anything on the Outlook? Do you have anything? Do you have any clients competing? I know you mentioned that you're taking a break from the competing. Anything we should be watching for? Anybody you want to put in the spotlight?
Yeah. and Rachel Joyner will be competing together in May.
Is that in Erie?
Yep.
USPA?
Yep, USPA. So we're preparing for that. So that'll be really fun.
They're both doing the full power meet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm super excited.
And it'll be Rachel's first meet, am I correct?
Right, and it'll be Justin's second.
Nice. I saw Justin's first one, and man, he did fantastic. That was a tough. Was it USPLA? Was
USAPL.
APL? There's so many. It's like alphabet soup. I think
I know.
straight.
I have to think about it for a second.
That's a tough federation. That they're strict. I think, my opinion, a little too tight. To each, hey, you chose the meet, you know what to expect. But I remember, I think it was his last deadlift, he got maybe red lighted on Justin, and I was like, God, he had that.
Yeah, he did. But
I mean, it is what it is. It'll just make you stronger, come back, and I'm sure he's going to break it this time. But I remember I was like, man, I think I was more mad than he was that he got red lighted on that. I was like, that was terrible.
Yeah. We'll get it next time.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's got a lot of potential. His numbers are coming on. His squats are, I can watch him squat all day. Deep. He takes, you know what I mean? He takes them, man, strong. Good guy too. Yeah. All right, Vannessa, I really appreciate you coming on. I wish Jill could have been here. If anybody's wondering why Jill's not here, she don't have water. She got home and didn't have water, so she had to attend to some things at home. But I assure you, she will be back on the podcast next week and this Sunday on Facebook Live. We're going to go at about 5 p.m. this Sunday, and we're going to add more music to our Grotto playlist. So Vannessa, chime in, give us some songs to put on there. This way nobody can. Yeah. And then we vote on them. We do like a little veto if it should make the playlist or not. We had a ball last time. We went on for like an hour and a half going through all different music and people typing in what songs should go on, and then we make fun of them and they make fun of us, and because we don't know half the music because we're old and out of touch, and it was a riot. So we're going to do that again. We're going to try to add about 40 new songs to the playlist. So come on in, bring your song suggestions. That'll be on our Facebook page this Sunday at 5 p.m. But until then, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you, Vannessa. And we will be seeing you all next week. Thanks again, Vannessa.